Mark Kirby Show. Let's talk about music with Jason Corbett. From the awesome, amazing, great band actors, as well as owner and operator and producer at Jackknife Sound Studio.
We asked Jason about his perspective on the state of the Vancouver music scene. We talked about obstacles and how to overcome them. Jason was kind enough to share some insight and experience as he is a part of the local scene. The last 6 months, actors have joined up with Artifact Records, in demand to play festivals in Canada, the U.S., and Europe. This is why we are excited to talk to Jason. It is important to share our skills and help grow and connect and to nurture our music scene.
It's kind of twofold, I think, as a city and the cost of the city. And I think you can see it happening, you've seen it, like, even when we're trying to book shows in San Francisco, a lot of people are like, oh, no one will go see a band in San Francisco. You got to play Oakland or something, because no one who goes to see shows can afford to be downtown, or, however true that is or not, it's definitely is telling. Or say New York, that was, went through being very creative to the point where people are getting priced out of certain areas, and, urban renewal or gentrification or it's just the real estate gets expensive. So the venues that you would play at and the people who would come see shows who are younger maybe don't have that disposable income. And it's also not the entertainment of choice right now.
Right.
I feel music is music that's popular reflects also the drugs that are popular at the time.
Oh, for sure. And you can go way back in the lineage with that, for sure. Now,
but
yeah,
if I can finish the second part, is that one thing that I also think, being around for a few decades now, is that it's just, as we were talking about briefly before, was the quality of the musicianship. I think the access that people have to all these different types of music online, the power's in your own hands to educate yourself, to become a better musician, to make better music. The tools are in your hands. I'm continually shocked at how many good bands I come across. Every time I go out, I see a good band.
Next, we talked at length about Jason's thoughts on how to go about touring, some strategies on how to tour and have it be sustainable.
I think there's two different ways of looking at touring and playing shows. Going out and touring with a band at your own level or just as by yourself, and I mean this like the Royal We band, you could tour all the time, but if you don't have all the cylinders firing, you're wasting your time.
Right.
It's a hobby. Even look at the Smalls. I still remember when they broke up and they said, oh, we've been touring Canada for 10 years straight, and you'd think that would keep us growing, but it hasn't. We maxed out a long time ago. We're not making any more money. We're not selling any more records.
Right. Why is that?
Maybe you hit a cultural threshold of what that music can sell. Like a band like Actors, I think if we're going to go play Calgary, Winnipeg, I think maybe there's 100, 200 people max that would even be into it.
Right.
So you put that together with how far you're driving, and it just makes no sense.
What are you excited most about looking down the road?
I'm excited to see how that mindset fulfills itself. I want to see the positivity of the universe. I do transcendental meditation, and I really believe in that quantum physics. At the very vibrational level, we're all part of the same energy. So if you put your energy towards something, or a positive energy, it grows. That being said, it's it's really easy to become jaded and upset. So I've opened my mind to the possibility of anything. I say to myself, this album's going to sell consistently for the next 5 years, maybe 10 years, and it could become a classic album forever. It could be one of those albums that is going to be always looked at as that was a special album.
Right.
And I intend to make 3 or 4 more of them. And if that works out, great. And if we become this or that or go, last year at this time I said to the band, can you imagine if we played Cold Waves in LA one day?
Right.
And I was like, just pipe dream. Because I was like, we would never get a chance to play that.
Right.
And the guy who puts it on asked us to play all three, New York. So we're the first band to play Infest, Terminus, WGT, Cold Waves, all in the same year. The guy's like, do you realize you're the only band in these circles to ever do that?
Right.
Play it all, like debut album and play them all in your first year. And WGT, same thing, Wave Gothique Treffen in Leipzig. It's the biggest goth festival in the world. Thousands and thousands and thousands of people there. Someone on one of our friends, the Foreign Resort, they're from Copenhagen. They were here. I helped them get a show at the Astoria. And he said, you should really play WGT. People would love you, and you'll get really popular from it. And then I looked at it online, and I emailed everyone. I said, could you imagine? Should we apply for this? This looks amazing. And then I just forgot about it. Because I didn't want to hang my hat on any ideas that wouldn't happen. And 2 weeks later, that festival emailed me and said, how do we get you to come headline our third night at this venue?
Right.
How does that happen if not for the power of intention, of thought, of positivity? That being said, like, I know maybe 10 years ago, if I saw actors, I'd be like, why are they doing that? Like, why do they get those opportunities? My band's better than them or whatever. But here's the thing, right? There's room for everyone. There's room for everyone to do their art, to do their whatever genre it is, whatever music it is. Be open to the universe and the opportunities it gives you. Be positive, and you will collect that energy. It comes to you, right?
Right.
And I truly believe if you tap into just positivity and you work hard, you have to work hard at stuff. You're gonna put in those 10,000 hours to master something, and you're eventually gonna see things happen. And also, you could be toiling away in obscurity for years, and you think, oh, well, that was a waste of time. Well, sometimes your experiences aren't quantifiable until much later.
Right.
I didn't know being a restaurant manager was going to help me manage my band or help me produce another artist. But it was like a clear line. But how do you know that at the time? You know?
In part of our conversation, we talked about how Vancouver has so many exciting, amazing female musicians, and asked him to share with us some thoughts on being a band with friends.
Something about having a female on stage with us softened the masculinity of the material, and it made it more palatable in a way that I had hoped, because I relate to women more. Like, I've always worked with women. I grew up with my mother. I'm not a man's man, you know, like there's a certain energy that comes from women that I relate to, and I feel that's in the music, and having her on stage helps convey that. It takes the edge off, and we all really do care about each other, and we're very close. They literally are my best friends. Most of the artists I work with, I'm working right now producing 2 bands that are all female.
Right.
I made last year or the year before, I made a list of bands I liked, and it was like 5, what were your favorite albums of the year? And it was like, oh wow, they're all female fronted or female bands. Like, it was like Warpaint and Beliefs and a bunch of other stuff. And I was like, oh wow, it's like people are tired of just a bunch of dudes.
Thank you so much. This was the first interview for this podcast, and a huge honor.
One last question, and this is not going to make it, but this is actually just a question I want to ask you is,
like, when I saw the Soft Moon and all these other bands that I thought are KVB or something like that were doing cool things, I didn't look to them for inspiration. I thought, what are they listening to that inspired them? Oh, it's the same stuff I liked. It was the Roxy Music or Chrome or David Bowie, Low, or all these different things. I thought, okay, well, we're coming from the same kind of angle, and so I just kind of kept exploring that.
Please check out all the links posted on this page. Thank you to Jason, and please check actors and everything else in the Vancouver music scene.